I missed the part where they magically discern and delineate between who is and who isn't a criminal. Hi, shout out to all of our new subscribers and members that have joined the channel. My name is Reese Waters, and this is Who Raised Y'all, where we highlight those unique individuals going above and beyond to make our society worse. The kinds of people you'll see asking to speak to the manager at the pearly gates.
I want to talk to the manager.
And today we'll address some people that will most definitely be asking to speak to the manager over the course of the next 4 years. Now, I've already on this platform broken down how the Latino vote emerged in 2024. Latino men at 44% to 54%. He won the Latino vote. I've also discussed pick-me's in our own community.
At the end of the day, I don't think that she has the personality. I don't think that she has what it takes to go up against Putin.
As well as amongst white women.
Trump was not well served by those around him last night. It wasn't a Nazi rally, all that's nonsense. But I'm telling you, even for me, and I voted for Donald Trump last week, it was too brotastic.
So one notable group has been missing from the pick-me breakdown. That is right, the Latinos for Trump come on down to the Summer Jam screen. Now, we have seen the fallout from the election already. In some cases, dividing whole families.
Well, it's happening. The family wants to know what I'm doing for the holidays. I'm gonna be here with my dogs and my daughter, who is of childbearing age and now has to get an IUD at 17 years old. And I'm gonna be here with my son, who is a political target. And that should really tell you all you need to know about why I'm not gonna be hanging out with y'all for the holidays. So
it was only a matter of time before we got this content, this time coming to us from MSNBC. Now, one thing I do want to highlight, this particular segment was titled Economic Insecurity Drives Latino Vote. Now, I find that to be curious because that's one of the things that was continually pounded, was that the economy was the thing that was driving folks' voting preferences. However, you find me a more economically insecure group than Black Americans. Go ahead, I'll wait. Go ahead. I mean, in the face of massive wealth inequality, with a power structure seeking specifically to do away with any sort of DEI or diversity programs that can work to eradicate that wealth inequality, we get to hear from other people talk about how they're driven by economic insecurity.
A sharp swing among Latino voters toward Mr. Trump was critical to the now president-elect's win. And the number one issue driving that shift, the economy, according to exit polls. NBC's David Noriega spoke with a family in Battleground, Nevada about why Latino voters shifted so significantly toward Mr. Trump and why his victory is giving them hope for a better future.
No, not right now.
Mario and Mireya Alvarez found the American dream in Las Vegas.
Would you like some coffee?
They came to the U.S. from Mexico and Guatemala in the 80s.
Okay, first thing to keep in mind, these are immigrants. Go on.
With his job in a supermarket and her job in a casino, they bought a house and raised 3 children. Now they wonder if their kids and grandkids will inherit that dream. Is it still possible to do that for the younger generation?
That's my main concern right now. What's going to happen to our new generation? Nowadays, they're not even able to move out of their houses anymore because everything is so expensive.
Life wasn't expensive as it is right now.
We first met Mario back in February when he was seriously considering a vote for Donald Trump. He was undecided, with previous votes for George W. Bush, Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Biden. At the last minute, he broke for Kamala Harris. But today, he's not upset about the result.
Okay, let me stop you right there. How can somebody who voted for Kamala Harris, in addition to having voted for Hillary Clinton and Obama before that, not be upset with the results? I don't, because they were so similar. Is that what it? Because they were just talking about the same stuff. No.
I'm kind of like more happy than upset. Why? Because Donald Trump is going to help the country with the economy.
So if you followed, he voted for Kamala, but he's more happy than upset. And as hard as this might be for you to believe, he makes the most sense of everybody sitting on that couch. You'll see.
The whole household is happy. Mireya and their 29-year-old son, Mario Jr., did vote for Trump.
Initially, I will say I did not agree with him. And then I started seeing that he was not afraid to speak his mind. And I noticed that he was not scared to say what he felt, regardless of what people would say. And I think I respect that about him.
So you liked his kind of brashness, his personality?
Yeah, I would say yes.
Who was he talking about? Who was he talking about in his brashness? Who was the target of his brashness?
Actually, I'm not as brash as you might think.
There are levels of pick me, and a guy saying, I like that he says what's on his mind, even as the target of what's on his mind is a high level. That is whoo. I wonder what was your favorite of his selections of saying what's on his mind. Was it the bad genes in the country, or maybe poison in the blood? Which one? Maybe the one about they're not sending their best. Maybe it was that one. No. It was eating the cats and dogs. It was definitely eating the cats and dogs.
They're not alone. Across the country, Donald Trump made huge inroads with Latino voters. According to NBC exit polls, 55% of Latino men nationwide voted for Trump, a 19-point jump from 2020. Among Latina women like Mireya, an 8-point gain. And while Vice President Harris won a slight majority of the Latino vote overall, Trump increased his support 14 points from the last election. The top issue among Latino voters, like it is for the Alvarez family, the economy, with immigration a distant fourth. Mario and Mireya both crossed the border illegally as teenagers.
One more time. Can you run that by me one more time? Huh? Just one more time.
Mario and Mireya both crossed the border illegally as teenagers.
So they both crossed the border illegally as teenagers, yet she has found her way to voting for the guy speaking in front of the crowd with the mass deportation signs. Ooh, boy. This is gonna be awkward.
But became citizens under President Ronald Reagan's amnesty. They see themselves as different from migrants crossing the border today.
There we have it. Oh, we're different. Not us. Oh, please enlighten me.
In what way do you think they're different?
The people that are coming here are the criminals, the ones that did something bad in their country. They're running away from their law.
Despite having close family members who are undocumented,
Migrant invasion.
they don't believe they'll end up in Trump's crosshairs. When you hear Trump promise mass deportations, do
Yes.
you worry about them?
Yes and no, because the ones that I know, they're doing good. They're not breaking any law.
Where do I start with this one? Let's start with the first most obvious thing, that coming into the country undocumented and illegally is breaking the law. Let's start with that one. So in the ways in which you feel like you're different, You came in as a criminal by virtue of how you came in. Let's start with that. But secondly, she's saying she doesn't have a problem with the deportation because they're criminals who are coming in, despite the fact that she and her husband came in and they don't consider themselves criminals, and says she's not worried about her undocumented family because they're not criminals. So even though you personally aren't a criminal, and the people that you know personally aren't criminals, you choose to believe him telling you about the criminals flooding into the border over your own experience and those of the people that you know. How do you undo that level of delusion? Like, how do you do that? Like, I need to understand how long is her deprogramming going to take? And then let's get to that part where apparently all of the authorities who will be choosing who's deported and who's not deported will have some kind of Minority Report-esque device that will tell them who is and who isn't a criminal, and who exactly it is will cause a problem in the future. So apparently I missed the part where they magically discern and delineate between who is and who isn't a criminal, because he called everybody criminals. So that not only would include the people that you know and the people that you love in your family, that would include you too. So I'm trying to figure out exactly how it is you have convinced yourself that you're different. At no point has he ever made any sort of effort or even intimated that there are any differences among you.
I believe he's going to start deporting all the bad people.
Oh, it's the bad people. It's the you mean the monster under the bed? Is that what he gonna get? He gonna get the monster under the bed, and then he gonna get the monster in the closet, and then he gonna get the people that hold up traffic during rush hour to try and parallel park in a busy street. Those three getting out of here. They out of here.
Trump won over the Alvarez family, and many like them. Whether the economy improves and who exactly he chooses to deport may determine if he keeps them.
My family is Latino, and a lot of them are immigrants. But at the end of the day, we're American.
Okay, so here's a question. By virtue of what she has said, some of your family is undocumented. They came undocumented, but yet you assert that we are Americans. So who does that apply to and who does it not? Is it just if you own a flag? Like, is that, because that would explain some of the holes in logic that I've seen over the course of the last 7 days. If I have a red hat and I hold up a flag, I'm safe. Like, you think the flag is base?
You have this interesting view that, and it should be noted that they're members of the Alvarez family who are here illegally. And so they would be first and foremost on the list. Being here illegally is a crime. So if Donald Trump is going after the criminals, he therefore is coming after you for having committed a crime. What is it about that connection that it's not me, it's those others? That other thing has now seemed to be a very salient conversation within the Hispanic community.
And one thing I want to highlight here too, not only is it not me, it's those others, it is that even with my proximity to those others, I still want them to be deported. Yeah, I still want them to be deported. It's no different than as a man being like, well, they not trying to take my rights and my bodily autonomy. So I have women around me. I'm married to one. I have a daughter and a mother I'm very close to, but it ain't me.
I think what we learned is that a lot of Latinos resonated with that us versus them language and game that Donald Trump played, right? I think the reality is, and I think that's what the polls were showing, right? That there was a significant amount of Latinos that simply weren't resonating with that anti-immigrant message. No, they didn't really see themselves as part of that them language. They weren't insulted by that language. You can explain that by many different ways. One of them is simply the fact that a lot of Latinos are simply more Americanized now. They're more assimilated. The majority of us are now US born. The majority of us speak English. We're under 50. And so that's one way to sort of understand that. Then I think there's the real elements of the very real disillusionments. I mean, I've even been in places like Nevada and Arizona. I've talked to dreamers. I've talked to undocumented immigrants that have been in this country for over 20 years. And there is a sense of resentment that the Democratic Party has yet to fulfill their promise, to really promise and give them that comprehensive immigration reform. And so in those conversations, you start to feel some resentment using the same language that Trumpism uses, which is they are cutting the line, they are coming in, they're stealing something from me. I think that also resonated. But I think now we're standing in the reality of all of these different mixed status families are now going to actually understand whether or not they feel welcomed in Donald Trump's America right now. Because when those mass deportations happen, and they will try and do that, it won't be a matter of who feels American enough or not. It'll be up to Trump to determine who looks American enough or not. Because what we learned from Operation Wetback is not only that they deported Mexicans, but that they also targeted people that were Mexican looking. And so this is now where, as a community, we're going to test ourselves and really, really understand how united we are. And unfortunately, sometimes it takes these difficult moments to get to that place.
Oh, they're gonna have some difficult moments. They definitely are going to have some difficult moments. One thing that I took from that, talking about how a lot of Latinos have become more Americanized and they speak English and they're under 50 and whatnot. What part of the process of becoming Americanized embraces xenophobia? Because I have never been fully immersed in any other culture. I've been here my entire life and I find it to be abhorrent. So I don't understand where in the process all of a sudden that becomes the thing, unless you are in some sort of competition in your own head to secure a pat on the back from the white majority. Then that becomes the thing.
If they let in hundreds or thousands of people who already have criminal records.
Oh, CNN went in too?
If deporting them creates a mass deportation, I'm all for it.
What do you have on your head? What do you have on your head, man? Huh? What do you have on? Is that it? Never mind, just go ahead.
But what if rounded up in all of that are people who work on a farm? They're doing the jobs that Americans don't want to do. Does that worry you?
That wouldn't be fair. Of course, they need to make sure that they don't throw away, they don't kick out, they don't deport people that are family oriented.
Oh, they're gonna find out. They're gonna find out. They're gonna find out. Unless I am missing a new technology that no doubt I'm sure Tesla would be on top of. Unless they have developed a new technology I am unaware of that tests your family orientation, they gonna find out.